that said 52% of Americans, a majority, want to, quote, protect the rights of Americans to own guns, with 46% wanting more gun control measures. Now, listen, I think reasonable people can realize those two ideas are not mutually exclusive. You can protect the First Amendment while enacting common sense gun control regulations in communities. But again, let's delve a little deeper. The polls that show that people want more gun control take place after mass shootings like what happened in Las Vegas, and they find out that, Americans are willing to put up with more restrictions to prevent those tragedies. I think that's a rational human nature response to tragedy. But then when it comes down to actually taking action with regards to gun control in the Second Amendment, what ends up happening, and this is another poll that was taken October of last year by Pew, gun control advocates are not as zealous proponents of gun control measures as you would think, and as places like Everytown and other gun control advocates would have you believe. They're not banging down the doors of Congress to try to institute new federal gun control measures. I mean, did you hear anything about gun control during the State of the Union? Did you hear anything about the Second Amendment during the State of the Union? It's not on the radar of most Americans right now. The economy is, immigration is, national security is. Second Amendment, it doesn't even make the top 10 right now. But, Mr. Schiff, if you're listening, I want you to note that the three polls that we're talking about here, two from Pew, the other one after Las Vegas was from Quinnipiac. I want you to note that the polling was done of actual bona fide Americans with no connection to Russia that can be discernible. Yes, Americans can have their own informed opinions, Congressman. It has been known to happen. But again, how vile is this man to say that Second Amendment rights and killing people are somehow correlated, and that Russia is pushing that button hard to make sure that Americans keep killing people, that they trumpet the Second Amendment because they want to kill people? Law-abiding gun owners are not the ones out there trying to kill people, Congressman. Those people are called criminals. Some use guns. Some use knives. Some use other instrumentalities. Some use, like cars. We're not looking to ban knives. We're not looking to ban cars. We're not looking to ban ice picks or pens or any number of things that could be deadly if put into the wrong hands of a criminal. No one's claiming a Russian conspiracy to arm Americans with knives. No one's claiming a Russian conspiracy to make sure that every American has a car so you can run down your neighbor. Gun owners are an easy target for Schiff and his people because that rallies the base. It also helps that gun owners and law-abiding gun owners who are vocal about the Second Amendment tend to skew Republican, and they also tend to have supported President Trump. But if they supported President Trump and they have a strong opinion about the Second Amendment, that must be proof. It must be proof that they were duped by Russia. Because Adam Schiff lives in a Russia-obsessed world. And I guarantee you, folks, that if he can't find the facts to prove his point, he may just make them up. Because he's gone too far down this rabbit hole to come up empty now. He is going to look for the most tenuous connection possible to show that there is a scintilla of corroboration of what his points are. That there is causation and correlation between Russia, the NRA, gun control advocates, President Trump. They're all in this giant vicious cycle of collusion 3.0. Because the first two didn't stick. Maybe the third one will. And they're trying to roll the dice again. And that leads into further delving into the world of Schiff and talking about the release of the Democrat memo regarding FISA warrants, Fusion GPS, and all that stuff. But we're going to do it after the break. Gene Baradelli, Behind Enemy Lines. We'll be back right after these brief words. If you're a long-time listener of the show, or maybe this is your first time listening, you can probably tell that me and the gang here, we like to have our share of fun, whether it's on or off the air. We talk about 2-drink minimum radio and no medication Wednesdays or whatever day it may be. That's why when we found the people at Less Government, More Fun, we knew it was a match made in heaven with this show. Folks, we live in a time where government is out of hand. Our founding fathers did not intend government to be all-consuming in all parts of our lives. That's why we are telling you to go to lessgovmorefun.com. Check out the website, check out the swag. What the people want is less government, more fun. Pass it on, make it happen.
Who might you save?
Your mother, your father, your husband, uncle, aunt, son.
Learn FAST, F-A-S-T, the sudden signs of a stroke, and you could save.
Your friend, teacher, boss.
F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. F-A-S-T. That's F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. The sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in the recovery of
your neighbor, the waiter, grandmother, grandfather.
So learn FAST, the sudden signs of a stroke, then pass it on, because you never know who might save you.
Your wife, your colleague.
Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org, brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Behind Enemy Lines Radio is all about being right. No, seriously, it is. If you ever listen to Russ Gallo or me go back and forth on some issue, we always want to make sure that we remember who said what and when we said it. That's why we go to goonrecord.com. It's a brand new social media website. Challenge people on what they believe, whether it's in politics, sports, entertainment, finance, whatever. There's a category for you at goonrecord.com. Check it out right now. Tell us, what do you stand for? It's time for you to go on record. Behind Enemy Lines. Back on the air. Gene Baradelli, back behind Enemy Lines. Before we go into the next segment, we delve further into the world of Schiff. I want to thank everybody for listening to the show. You're listening to Behind Enemy Lines Radio. I'm Gene Baradelli. Russ Gallo still licking his wounds from the big game. Sorry there, big guy. I guess Tom Brady let you down. But while you're listening, check out www.behindenemylinesradio.us. Check us out on the Facebooks and the Twitters at BEL_radio. And if you miss any part of this show that we normally put up on Spreaker Wednesday nights, you can always check us out at one of our rebroadcast outlets, including WJHC Talk 107.5 FM in Jasper, Florida, WDDQ Talk 92.1 FM Adele, Georgia, and WLBB News Talk 1330 AM Carrollton, Georgia, all a part of the Talk America Radio Network. You can also check us out at KLRN Radio, Lone Star Talk Radio, and Sackheads Media, ICRN, the Internet's conservative radio network that powers the Talk America Radio Network, and of course, Lanterns Radio. Check us out at lanterns.buzz, one of the fastest growing internet radio sites on the interwebs. But if you miss any of the rebroadcasts, no problem. That's cool. You got a life. We understand. You can always check us out as a podcast and download us. Take us wherever you want to go. We're available on demand at Spreaker, Stitcher, TuneIn, Podbay, Player FM. You can discover us on Google Play Music. We're available on SoundCloud, Auto Radio, which is a project of Sirius XM, and of course iTunes and the mighty iHeartRadio Network. Not anybody gets onto iHeart, by the way. That's a big deal for us. And we want to thank iHeart for carrying us. Getting back into the world of Schiff, we have this memo coming out in response to the Republican memo, the Nunez memo, written by Trey Gowdy, regarding revelations that the Republican Party wanted everybody to know about regarding findings involving Fusion GPS and the FISA court, and the biggest revelation coming out of that. Just to recap real quick, are statements by former FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe, saying that, yes, the Fusion GPS dossier was instrumental. It was key in obtaining a FISA warrant for Trump volunteer advisor. I don't even know if you want to call him that because I don't know exactly how much involved he was in the campaign. But Carter Page, we're talking about, of course. His name has been all over the media. And the whole discussion of that the FBI knew they were taking a political document, an opposition research document, that they did not verify and proof and source, that they knew came from Russian operatives in connection with Steele, who had his own malintent against President Trump, regardless of his knowledge of who he was working for or not, and that he knew that this was, whether or not he knew this was being funded by the DNC and the Hillary Clinton campaign, which at the time, if you remember, were one and the same. And all these revelations, one on top of the other, depending upon your political persuasion, you thought it was a big nothing burger, or you thought it was the biggest scandal since Watergate. It's Watergate times 1,000. But Adam Schiff has been pushing his own memo, one that he claims will dispel many of the points in the Nunes memo. But Adam Schiff has been playing so much politics when it comes to these memos, it's actually quite atrocious. First thing he did was he put out onto the internet that Devin Nunes did not review any of the confidential and classified documents that are the basis for the memo. This shouldn't be news and it shouldn't be a revelation, folks, because there was an agreement between those in national security, the FBI, the Department of Justice, and the Congressional Committee, that only one person from either side would be going to look at the memo. And Devin Nunes, Chairman Nunes, decided that Trey Gowdy, given his law enforcement background, his prosecutorial background, would be the best person to look at it. So he went in. So Adam Schiff going around claiming this is a Nunes memo and Nunes didn't even see the document, so how can he be purporting this memo? It's a lot of sleight of hand. It's political gamesmanship. Luckily, a lot of that was dispelled. Then the political game turned to, this memo is the end of the world. This memo will damage our national security community, our intelligence community. It'll burn assets all around the world because it's going to name names. It's going to contain sources and methods. How many times did you hear that phrase? Sources and methods in gathering intelligence. When really what we found out is there were no sources and methods in the gathering of intelligence. It was the memo. It was the dossier, rather. It was the Fusion GPS dossier. The sources and methods were the ones used by Christopher Steele. It wasn't the FBI. There were no sources and methods burned here. There was no end of the world scenario. There was no damage to our intelligence community. Again, political gamesmanship. Now here's the latest political game being played in the world of Schiff. The Democrat memo, as we are recording this today, has passed through the Congressional Committee unanimously, by the way. That means that all the Republicans want the memo from the Democrats rebutting their positions to come out. They're for transparency. The Democrats didn't want the Republican memo to come out, but the Republicans have no problem with the Democrat memo. But we're getting word now through different news entities saying that the memo that is presently before President Trump may have to be redacted because Schiff decided to, again, play politics with our national security in an effort to further his Russian collusion narrative. Apparently, if you believe these news stories, which I don't know if I do or not, but I'm going to put that out there for your consumption. Schiff is now putting sources and methods, naming names, and doing all the things that he was accusing Devin Nunes of. And why is he doing it? Not to burn anybody or to destroy our intelligence community or our ability to gather intelligence. He's doing it to make the Trump administration heavily redact their memo, to make it look like they're not playing fair in the administration. He wants it to seem like President Trump is playing favorites. He didn't have to redact anything in the Nunes memo. He let it go as it stood because presumably it was a well-crafted document that didn't harm our national security. But if he has to heavily redact the Democrat memo, proof of collusion. There it is. He's hiding something. What is he hiding? We demand to see everything that's in there. When all that President Trump's advisor will be doing is protecting national security. It's absolutely insane. It's, again, political gamesmanship coming from the world of Schiff. You get the point here, folks? Adam Schiff is playing chicken with the Trump administration on the issue of these FISA warrants. Because, and I think the American people are going to be getting this as subsequent memos come out, there's something rotten in the swamp. There's something fishy going on here. It doesn't pass the smell test to have a dossier created as a political opposition research document then be given to the FBI, who then uses it as a basis to